We have more now of Tony's wide-ranging, exclusive conversation with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. So they spoke at a hospital just outside Tel Aviv, where the Prime Minister and his wife met newly returned hostages and their families. Tony joins us once again from Tel Aviv. Tony?
Good morning, Gayle. In a blunt moment, we asked the Prime Minister point blank what it would take for him to consider Israel's many conflicts to be over. And he responded in part, quote, the way to purchase peace is through strength. And it was military strength, at least as much as diplomacy, that he believes allowed Israel to win back the hostages that we met face to face just last night.
Everybody in Israel since the last time I was here seems so relieved. Do you feel relieved?
I feel both relieved and very moved.
We watched late Tuesday as Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his wife Sarah moved room to room, visiting 5 returned hostages and their families on their first full day back together. Each described an ordeal of long hours underground, limited sunlight, and scarce food. Avi Natan Or, for example, the partner of another hostage, Noah Argamani, lost at least 60 pounds in Hamas captivity.
I'm learning that they didn't lose hope, that they believe that one way or the other will get them out.
Now it's a question of whether this moment of hope for Israel and the region can last.
Mr. Trump says the war is over, but clearly the war is not over. The IDF is deployed to sections of Gaza still, and Hamas is still on the streets of Gaza. How can you say the war is over?
Well, we agreed to give peace a chance. The conditions in his 20-point plan are very clear. It's not only that we get the hostages out without getting our military out, but that we would subsequently have both demilitarization and disarmament. They're not the same thing. First, Hamas has to give up its arms. And second, you want to make sure that there are no weapons factories inside Gaza. There's no smuggling of weapons into Gaza. We also agreed, okay, let's get the first part done. And now let's give a chance to do the second part peacefully, which is my hope.
You just mentioned how closely you're working with Donald Trump on this. He took some digs at you, as he often does with people, during his speech at the Knesset.
He's not the easiest guy to deal with, but that's what makes him great.
Why does he say you're so hard to work with?
Well, I hope he says that because I'm very tough on the matters that pertain to my country's future. It is always the responsibility of the leader of the Jewish state to make sure that the Jewish state is never imperiled with its very existence. That's why I did the things I did.
There was a poll that came out recently in America finding that just 14% of Americans under 30 say their sympathies lie with Israel and with the Israeli people. You are losing young people across the political spectrum in America and across the world. Is there a fix for that?
I think so. I think the first fix is to finish the war as speedily as possible, something that I have sought to do against all these contrarian propaganda. Of course I want to end the war. Who wants it to continue? I've been to war myself. I've been in battles. My brother died leading the historic rescue at Entebbe for the release of hostages.
I'm aware.
You have to be crazy to want wars to prolong. So
first you want
to end them. You want to end the war speedily, because in the TikTok age and in the television age, letting wars go on too long is going to cost you precisely what it costs you. There's a real battle on the social media. It's a big battle, not simple.
It is.
So it's a battle for truth, really.
It's also a battle of messaging, of ideas. And there's a big idea that the world talks about and that America talks about, the two-state solution, something that you used to talk about, but not anymore. How come?
When I talked about it, it wasn't the proposition that people give. They assume, okay, there are two sovereign states, and a sovereign state has, for example, military power, it can make covenants. The Palestinians should have all the powers in a peaceful day to govern themselves, but they can't have the powers to threaten our survival. That sovereign power of security must remain with Israel, because otherwise the jihadists take over. Iran takes over immediately, and that's what happened every time we vacated territory. The most extreme fanatics came in, and people said to me, but that's not a perfect state. And I said, you're right, but it's perfectly aligned with reality.
So is that a reality you can imagine existing?
Well, it's a reality that if you had Palestinian governance that stop teaching their kids to destroy the state of Israel. Obviously, if you have that and they educate them for peace, then I think you can have a different reality. But even under that reality, this could take generations. Israel has to be in control of the military power to prevent our destruction.
And I'll add just one more thing, guys, as I toss it back to you in New York. Just before we started rolling on that interview, I mentioned to the Prime Minister that his obituary, after the success of the last few days, will look very different today than it would have looked like 2 years ago. And he said in part, it's not his obituary that he's concerned about, it's his country's, which underscores once again, for Netanyahu, many of Israel's problems feel existential. And as we think about what's coming next in the ceasefire and for the future of the whole region, I think that's a real insight into his mindset as he looks out onto the world.
Tony, well done. I know that new information is coming out minute by minute, but given the information that you had, very well done. We'll talk to you a little bit later.